How strong are the cases, though, in terms of the current reality that President Trump faces? He's got multiple lawsuits. Which one carries the most weight from where you sit?
I think the one that's most serious is probably the Florida case, the possession of classified material improperly. Legally, that sounds like a fairly strong case, especially if the government can prove some kind of obstruction of justice and distinguish it from the cases involving President Biden and former Vice President Pence. But if they can't distinguish it from those cases, politically, they probably won't bring it. I think the weakest case by far is New York, the Bragg case. There's just nothing to that at all. It's a completely made up case. And the civil cases are always difficult because the burden of proof is very low. And when you can eliminate the statute of limitations, you can go back to any period of time and charge somebody with almost anything. And that can be very dangerous. Look, I think there is undoubtedly an effort by some people to tie former President Trump up in legal litigation throughout the campaign until November of 2024. And they're doing a good job of it. They're filing civil cases, they're filing criminal cases. I'm not suggesting this is necessarily a coordinated effort, but the impact is very, very serious on the election. And I think the American public have the right to do what I want to do, and that is vote against Donald Trump for the third time. And I don't think most of us think that we should be denied that right by prosecutors making up cases and by 25-year-old cases that go back forever. There are lots of presidents and presidential candidates who could have been subjected to that kind of a lawsuit if the statutes of limitations had been voided. I think, in the criminal area, you cannot expand the statute of limitations once it's over. Mm-hmm. Once the 5-year statute is over, you can't make it 10 years. The rule should be the same in civil cases. Once the statute is expired, the defendant should be able to heave a sigh of relief and say, look, it's over. I can go on with my life. That's what statute of limitations are supposed to be able to do.
We saw with the Alvin Bragg case, you mentioned that the popularity of President Trump actually appeared to go up in the immediate aftermath of that. What impact will this have? You mentioned E.G. and Carroll's testifying. There are others who've come forward. These are allegations that have been out there in the public sphere for some time. Do you think it's likely to have an impact in terms of his reputation or even the campaign itself?
Yes, I do. I don't think it's going to have an impact within his base. It probably strengthens him among the MAGA crowd and those Republicans who want to see him nominated. But I think it really can have an impact on independent voters, middle-of-the-road voters, voters who aren't sure, voters who aren't extremists on either side. So these things can have an impact. Now, he doesn't have to be in court on a daily basis as he would be in a criminal case. And so it doesn't have that kind of an impact. But a verdict against him, which obviously would be appealed, would impact the campaign. And now that we know who the campaigners are, obviously, one of the big issues that will divide the two candidates is Trump is going to try to present himself as a younger, more energetic person who's out there campaigning, and he'll try to make the argument that that Biden is in his Oval Office and not out there campaigning, and other people are doing most of the job for him. That's not necessarily true, but that's what part of his campaign would be, and this would have an impact on that aspect of the campaign.